ladies and gentlemen. Can you hear us? Okay. So it's a pleasure to have Sanjay with me for this conversation that is what? Supposedly a BW hotelier farewell to you? But no,
not yet.
Not yet. And definitely not a farewell from the industry, because I'm sure you'll do much more for the industry. What I did notice is that the timer has been set for 15 minutes. I thought we had 20. And I don't think a person who has been in the industry for 37 years, worked through hotels in 40 markets, 3 companies, can be sort of interviewed in 15 minutes. So I'll take the additional 5 as much as I can. But Sanjay, you would have had a strategy and goals. You were the first hotel person appointed as a CEO by an ownership company in India of that scale. You took the company into listing. You've grown it enormously in range and in value and in size. Tell us about your strategy, your goals. How did you measure your goals?
Thank you, Vijay. Thank you, Bhuvnesh, for having me here. Pleasure being amongst this August gathering. So let me talk a little bit about Chalet itself to begin with. I joined the company around 14 or 15 years after it was formed. And my predecessors had done a wonderful job of creating a foundation which was ready to take off. And I think my job was to get it to take off. I spent, I think, 2015 to 2017 roughly stabilizing things, finishing some ongoing projects. But in 2018, we said, listen, this is not going to be good enough. So we need to do more. We need to do big, and it needs to be in line with the promoter group family scale that they operate in. They own multiple companies with a very large scale. So in 2018, I actually huddled together with a couple of my colleagues over, I think, a month or so, February and March of 2018. And we said, listen, let's re-strategize. We need to pivot the way we are thinking, how we're taking this forward. So we did 4 or 5 we kick-started 4 or 5 initiatives. And I'll take a few minutes for this, but it's important to elaborate this. I think one was that we will continue to do well what we do best, which was basically, we were in the asset-intensive, building hotels, asset managing hotels, and we'll make sure that that continues to be the strength that we continue to work on. We were very, very geographically constrained also at that point in time. It was very, very Mumbai-centric. 2/3 of our portfolios in Mumbai and the rest of it in Hyderabad and Bangalore. And we needed to expand the geographical footprint. So that was the first shift in the strategy that we did. So we want to go beyond the cities that gave us comfort. We wanted to go to other markets. I think the third thing was that we wanted to get into the different segment of hotels, which was, we were all business hotels. We said we must have some leisure play, maybe a small part, maybe 15-20% of the portfolio to be in leisure, but it was important for us to do that. And finally, we said, look, we're a real estate business, and we're sitting on a humongous amount of FSI, underutilized FSI in our land assets that we owned, where hotels were already there. So how can we sweat that FSI or FAR and make the real estate value count a lot more than it was at that point of time? So we said we'll go into a complementary asset class called offices. I say complementary because offices then generate demand for the hotel, and the hotel brand gives a halo effect to the office itself to give us some 3-4% rental premium also. But I think the key thing was I could have built another 700 rooms. We have 777 rooms in Powai, for example. Potentially had the FSI to build another 700, but that would be shooting ourselves in the foot. Very high concentration on one micro market, too many keys. It would have destroyed the market and our business. So we went and did offices at JW Sahar. We did offices at Bangalore, and we did offices at Powai. Today, our office portfolio is about 2.4 million square foot of ready offices, another 1 million odd under development right now as we speak. All this combined together, we said, listen, if you're going to grow our hotel business, we're going to grow office business, critical to get the capital to do that. And therefore, this thought process of going public and raising capital from the markets. And we did our IPO. We started the work in 2018. We listed in February of 2019. We raised 1,700 odd crores, 1,100 crores was primary, and 600 crores was secondary. So that 1,100 crores created or strengthened our balance sheet. And that was the goal, right? Strengthen the balance sheet to allow us to become big. And with that in mind, we went and did the IPO. The other thing that we did since then was that we must start operating some of our hotels also. So all this was decided in 2018. We've blessed with the fact that the team was strong enough to deliver on every count. So we've been able to roll out all of it.
That is a great achievement. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, so going forward, look, we are 3,300 odd rooms, 2.5 million square of office space. Office will go to 3.5, but rooms, we expect to double the room count over the next 4-5 years. We don't give forward-looking numbers, so this is a very indicative wish list that I'm sharing here. We have about 1,200 rooms under development already, so that'll take us to 4,500, 4,600 pretty comfortably. But getting to 6,500 shouldn't be a big task for us.
And the good thing is that whether it's coming from the ownership but also then supported by the leadership team at the hotels, by you, is that most of your assets are big boxes. I mean, I think Chalet has got 2 of the 9 hotels in India which have got more than 500 rooms. 3. Okay.
So we've got Powai, which is of course big. Then we got JW Sahar, which 588, and now Bangalore's 511.
So Bangalore has gone to 511.
And
right. So
Hyderabad is actually that Combi hotel is now 600 rooms also.
yeah, so it's then 3 out of 10,
Yeah.
right? And also the fact is that you are going into the leisure side, probably not as big as your city hotels, but that's leisure. Any further thoughts on additional diversification of the type of assets that you might look for in the hotel sector, whether in terms of type of assets or segments?
Sure. So look, we've primarily operated in the upper upscale and luxury segment. That's where the meat of our portfolio is today. We've got Novotel, which is more in the upscale sort of a positioning. And we've got a few other hotels that are coming up, which could be in the cusp of upscale and upper upscale. But we believe upper upscale is probably the sweet spot for us. And that's where majority of the focus for us is going to be. The other thing in terms of diversification, geographical diversification I mentioned earlier, we now have Rishikesh, we have Delhi, we have Pune, we have 2 land parcels in Goa, we'll expand there, and we've got a lot more going on in other cities. The third type of asset diversification we did was asset classes, offices and hotels. But finally, I think the other thing that we wanted to play on was that how do we address the future target audience? And for us, future target audience is millennials and Gen Zs. Millennials are very quickly becoming the primary target audience already. Gen Zs are secondary target audience, but growing very quickly as being the primary ones in the near future. So all our intent and strategy is pointed towards those specific target audience, and therefore anything that we do will be to cater to that demand.
So then the JW Marriott Sahar model may not be the model it is going forward. It might be a tweak to that.
Vijay, I think the millennials, at least the millennials, are still very open to traditional luxury. Gen Zs, as things stand today, have a little different point of view. I think as they mature, they might even want to come back to that themselves. Let's wait and watch on that one. But at the same time, we are creating products, additional products, which are targeted directly at the millennial and the Gen Z audience.
What is your view on new build versus acquisition? And when I say new build, it could be
new build versus
acquisition.
Okay.
I mean, acquisition could be absolutely greenfield or brownfield, or even an NCLT acquisition or whatever. What is your view or strategy on that? And how would you advise the industry for that?
So, look, Chalet was primarily greenfield. We bought land, built hotels, ground up, and that was a group strength, and therefore we were able to do it a little more efficiently than many others. And I think that played well for us because our returns on capital employed are very healthy. Legacy assets are around 20-22%. ROCEs year on year. In the last, I think, 6-7 years, we've gone acquisition of ready hotels. We kick-started that with the acquisition of Novotel Pune, which was terrible timing in hindsight. February of 2020, COVID hit us within weeks of that. But that's turned out very well. We expanded the hotel from 220 odd keys to 311 now. Rockstar performance from that hotel. Then we acquired Duke's Retreat, which is now almost ready to be launched at the market as in its new avatar, doing extremely well in the soft opening, clocking rates about ADRs about 14,500. We bought it at 8,000. Then we acquired the Courtyard by Marriott Aravali, which is going to be upgraded to a Marriott very soon. And finally, the Rishikesh Hotel earlier this year, which was the Westin Rishikesh. So these 4 were acquisitions. At the same time, we continue to acquire land parcels so that we'll continue to grow on the greenfield side too. So it's going to be a mix of both for us going forward.
So it's really opportunistic. I mean, when I say opportunistic, it's not.
I think strategy.
It's strategically opportunistic.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And I think that's the way to go as an ownership company. You've sort of worked with different hotel companies in a way, and on the ownership side, but then also on the operations side. What are the things, couple of things that operators could do better for the owners?
I think the challenges have diminished significantly over the last few years. I think especially when the international operators came in, they had the Western mindset in terms of how the hotels will be operated. And I think they've now, over the years, adjusted to understand that this is not how it's going to work. And I worked for the Taj Group of Hotels for 14 years on the operating side of the business. And I think there were gaps in the way some of the international brands operated to how a Taj or an ITC and Oberoi's would operate. But I think it's been reduced significantly now.
Let's say one aspect or one element that they could do better than they are today.
Look, I think the challenge that I face answering that question is that we have some amount of scale and some amount of weight when we have engagements with the brands. And we tend to, what we believe is the right thing to do, we tend to get away with that. So it's been a good run for us. It's been a learning on both sides. We were always multi-brand. It was Starwood and Marriott, the 2 global fiercest competitors at one point of time. And we had both of them operating our hotels. Now we've expanded the portfolio, though some of them are still to open. We've got a Taj coming up here at the airport in Delhi. We've got a Hyatt Regency in Navi Mumbai. We're working on a couple of other brands also in other locations. I do not want to pitch one against the other because on stage, I certainly cannot demean one.
That's not the idea.
But I think the adaptation to local markets for foreign operators is critical. And I want to come down to something as basic as Indian accounting systems, Indian data privacy laws, everything that comes on the tech side that Indian government wants. The foreign brands have been slow to get there, but they need to get there. And I understand their challenge. They operate in 200 countries. Yeah. If each country defines the way you should run the business, it's going to be very complex for them. That's where the agility for the groups like the Taj Group or ITC and Oberoi's comes in, and they clearly have an advantage on that front.
Okay. What would you advise young hoteliers or people who want to enter the industry? What would be your advice to them from a career point of view or a career betterment point of view?
Look, it's a very exciting industry. I put in 37 years, as Vijay mentioned earlier. I wouldn't have done anything else. If I was to live this life again, I would live it exactly the way I've done it. It's hard work in the initial years. It's physically strenuous work to begin with. A lot of us are from the food and beverage background. We put in, 15, 20 hours a day, standing on our feet, running around. But we did it for years, and we did it for 7 days a week, months at a stretch. But we never, at that point in time, we were not thinking about the effort that we were putting in. We were just enjoying the journey. And I think that's what set some of us apart in terms of achieving whatever benchmarks we could achieve over the years. But more important than anything else, I think hunger for knowledge has held all of us well in the past. So any young hotelier in the industry must continue to learn and expand beyond the job that they're doing at that point of time to really add value to themselves and the organization.
Yeah, and not be stuck on the phones.
Certainly not.
Two last questions. One is, what is your view of the industry going forward?
Strong, despite all the geopolitical challenges that we've been facing over the last 1.5, 2 years now. We've shown resilience. Post-COVID, the industry bounced back like never before. The supply and demand side continues to be favorable for growth. I personally believe that demand will continue to outpace supply for the next foreseeable future of 3 or 4 years. I'm not able to foresee beyond that. But if today we count for all the hotel rooms that are under development, not announced, under development, and they'll take 3 years to get there, you will still find demand will outpace supply even at the end of the 3 or 4 years.
That
so
I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you. I think we are in a good run unless something really hits us from the external side. This cannot be the end of your work with the hotel industry. What are your plans going forward? And I know you're in the seat till end of January, but let's say 1st February 2026.
I think I'm done. Look, after 37 years, and I promised myself I will make a clean break when I do. That's the intention, that I will make a clean break. No consulting, no advising. A couple of board roles, yes. I've already been invited to a few board roles. Yeah, if you need an assistant in your firm.
No, I was sweating that you might take over.
No, I'm not getting into consulting, Vijay bhai. But look, a few board roles. I also have an ongoing program for the last 6 years as what I call the Give Back Project. I think I'll spend more time on that. Travel, a lot of travel, and a lot of reconnecting with old friends and family that I've had to ignore for the last 37 years.
Okay, so that's a general answer. Hopefully we'll get specifics in due course. Not going to let you go without asking you a bit of an odd question. Mm-hmm. Of course, you might say that, listen, it's for Chalet to decide, not for me to decide. But I know you are looking to manage some of your own hotels, and the question is not around that. But otherwise, all but one of your brands are international brands. I have nothing against them. But will Chalet become Atmanirbhar at some time?
I think we are. Look, Atmanirbhar is not.
If you know what I mean.
Atmanirbhar is not, not partnering with globally the best. Atmanirbhar is doing for India what we need to do. We are the ones who build the hotels. We create the jobs for the construction industry. We create the jobs for the operating part of the business. We create the taxation or the contribution to the exchequer that is made. It's on our P&L, right? We are doing everything. Our capital expenses are ours. P&L is ours. It's all us. We are 100% Indian company, no doubt about that.
And I think that's the message that should go. I mean, when there is talk around, maybe the international brands should be looked at differently. I don't think so, because the real money is by the Indian owners. Thank you, Sanjay. I think we are being given a lot of notice to go, although we are still within the original time. Thank you. Wish you all the best in your next career and the rest of your life.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vijay.